Axiom Search Company is proud to present to you Learn to be a Recruiter. Welcome to the exciting and rewarding world of recruiting. After completing this course, you will be on your way to becoming a full life cycle recruiter. To access a previous slide in any of these lessons, you can use the left arrow key. Before we get deep into these lessons, let's start by delving into what you think recruiting is all about. If you think recruiting is searching job boards, scrolling through social media, find someone who fits the skills and submitting them, you would be half right. But there is so much more to just searching for a resume. You, as a recruiter, have the ability and sometimes responsibility of helping someone change their career path or increasing their knowledge and skills. In this lesson, we're going to explain more about what a recruiter does, as well as what you are going to have to decide when deciding if it's a career you even want to pursue. Being a recruiter means wearing many hats. Being a recruiter involves more than just looking for candidates. You also need to be able to communicate with clients, and the more you speak with clients, the more experience you will gain and become more comfortable with presenting your candidates. You may encounter a client that doesn't want to speak with a recruiter, only the account manager. Don't take it personally. When that happens, it will be up to you to sell your candidate for the position to the account manager. If you can't sell your candidate to them, you probably won't go any further with your candidate. Hiring managers. Hiring managers, they are the ones who make the final decision on who they want to interview. It can sometimes be overwhelming when talking with them. It can be difficult at best to get a time scheduled. So when you do get one, be prepared with what you need to say. You probably won't have a lot of time to sell your candidate, so you want to have all of the important information ready. Candidates. Talking with your candidates will be 60 to 70% of your work. This is the beginning of your task. You need to get to know your candidates, and you want to make them feel comfortable when they are talking with you. Find out what they are really looking for, what their expectations are, and where they want to be. If you are considering them for a specific position, you want to know if they have already applied to the position through the client's website. Keep them in mind for other positions from a different client that they may be a fit for. You will need to understand skill sets. Skill sets are a very important part of a job description and very important when talking with an account manager or hiring manager. Without knowing what skills you are selling, you won't present yourself as a strong recruiter who is prepared to sell your candidate. This is your opportunity to really sell your candidate and to show your BDM that you have searched and found the candidate that you think is a fit. Work locations. An important part of any position is the location of where the job resides. Some candidates will be willing to relocate at their own expense. Some companies will have a relocation package. When talking with your candidate, it's important to know that they are either willing to relocate or that they are in the area of where the position is located. Some candidates will relocate at their own expense. If the client does not have a relocation package and they are willing to relocate at their own expense, that needs to be made clear to the BDM. Always try to get an email response from the candidate so that you have a trail of what was agreed to. Work visas. It is important to know the work status of any candidate that you talk to. Companies will have set requirements for work status. They may be able to provide sponsorship, or they may only want U.S. citizens or green card holders. Scheduling. Another important part of recruiting. If a hiring manager or an account manager wants to have a screening call with a candidate, you need to be prepared to give them your candidate's schedule. If they are located in a different time zone from the account manager or hiring manager, you need to adjust for that so everyone is on the same page when you send out an invite. To make sure that their time is clear, follow up with an email after you send the invite to let everyone involved know what the time zone is. First steps. Depending on the structure of the company you go to work for, you will receive a position, whether it be from the client or someone from your outfit, for example, an account manager or a recruiting director. This form is called a job description or profile. It should have, but doesn't always have, the following: location. When you receive a requisition to work on, read it through to make sure that you have the correct location. Find out if it's on-site, hybrid, or remote. If it's remote, find out if it is only remote in the geographical area of where the company is, or is it 100% remote anywhere in the country. Schedule. Make sure that there is a schedule on the requisition. This position may be time sensitive, and the hiring manager needs to fill this as quickly as possible. Speed to market is a very important part of recruiting. Skills. Another important part of the requisition are the skills required. If you have any questions about the skills, now would be the time to address them. You won't waste a lot of valuable time if you are searching for a candidate based on skills only to find out that some of the required skills for the position were missing from the requisition. This happens sometimes because the hiring manager has added or changed the skills after the requisition has been sent out. Salaries. Is this a full-time W-2 direct hire position, contract to hire position, or contract position? Is it a salaried or hourly role? What is the salary or hourly range that the client is willing to work with? Or will the client be willing to pay a little more based on experience? Description of work. This is the complete job description. Before you can start your search, you need to know what you're looking for. You need to know the job title or any variation of that. What are the skills needed? What does the project intend to accomplish? How long is the project for? Is it ongoing? Or does it have a start and end date? Visa status. Most companies will want candidates that are U.S. citizens or green card holders. Some companies will have a process in place to sponsor visas. Other companies who have government contracts will only want U.S. citizens. It's your job to make sure you have all the information needed to find a candidate that fits, and if it doesn't, then you need to get it. Once you have that information, you can start your search. The next step is to search and reach out to the candidates that you identify. There are many types of candidates, which we will discuss how to identify, classify, communicate with, and organize in future lessons. Here are some examples of candidates. Passive. Passive candidates are ones who will post their resume to job boards without any contact information except the set email that is assigned to them from the job board company. These candidates are usually working but have their resumes out there to see what else is available. They may not be looking for a new position, but they are willing to have a discussion about a position that may look tempting to them and that may offer them an opportunity to advance their career. Passive candidates are a great way to build your pipeline of candidates. Active. These candidates are seriously looking for new positions. Either the project they are on is coming to an end, or they are looking to further their knowledge by moving to another company that will allow them to increase their skills, or they are simply unemployed and are actively looking. Contract. These candidates will only want contract. They may not need to have the benefits that a company may offer. They are comfortable working as a contractor on an hourly basis. These type of candidates will relocate to the area that the position requires. They like to be able to move around after each project. Once you establish a candidate, you can move on to the next step. The next step is to talk to the candidates that you have identified. You can set up a view call or a phone call. You need to be able to get a feel for the candidate by having a conversation with them. Ideally, try to set up a video call so you can get a feel on how they present themselves. During the call, you will be responsible to find out if their skills fit the requirement. Once you've identified a candidate for a specific role based on the resume you have reviewed, you want to set up a call with them. You want to make sure that they have the skills you are looking for. You want to know how they conduct themselves on a phone interview, what their availability is for a phone, video, or in-person interview. If the candidate is outside the area of where the position is located, are they willing to relocate, sometimes at their own expense? If they did not identify what their work status is on their resume, you need to ask if they are eligible to work in this country for any employer. How they handle themselves. By talking with a candidate, either on the phone or video, you will get a sense of how they conduct themselves during the process. You will see how they present themselves. This gives you the opportunity to address any concerns you may have about putting them in front of an account manager or hiring manager. A good reminder for this is to let your candidate know that a phone or video call should be treated the same as an in-person interview. Appropriate dress and actions should always be maintained. Their availability for interviews and start dates. These are important factors that you need to find out when talking with a candidate. When are they available? Some candidates will be working and will not be able to take a phone or video interview during work hours. Some candidates may be leaving on vacation. You will need to get those dates so that you can be transparent with the account manager or hiring manager. If they need to relocate. If they are not in the local area of where the position is, you need to find out about relocation and whether they are willing to relocate. Sometimes you will encounter a resume that says they are willing to relocate, but they did not clearly state that they will only relocate to certain areas. This can be very frustrating sometimes, so it's best to clear that up as soon as you can. Their visa status. The way to find this out is by asking if they are eligible to work in this country for any employer. If they answer yes, try and get them to elaborate on that. Salary requirements. You need information from your candidate on whether this is a salaried or hourly position when you speak to them. This information needs to be established before you submit anyone for a position. You need to make sure that the numbers, whether it's salaried or hourly, are in line with what the client is willing to pay. This step is called screening the candidate. Once you have screened the candidate, it's time to submit them to the account manager or the hiring manager. This isn't the end of your process. You still have to get feedback from the hiring manager on the resume. Getting feedback from a hiring manager or account manager regarding a resume or interview is as important for you as much as it is for your candidate. Every candidate wants to hear feedback, whether it's good or bad. If the hiring manager is interested in interviewing a candidate, ask for the hiring manager's schedule. If the account manager or hiring manager has any questions about the candidate's resume, address them before the interview. You will be responsible for scheduling the interview, whether it is phone, video, or in person. Sometimes feedback can be very helpful to a candidate by letting them know that although they have certain skills, they are missing others, and this will allow them to research and decide on whether to attain those additional skills. Get the availability from the hiring manager for interviews. Once you have received feedback from the hiring manager and they are interested in your candidate, try and get the hiring manager's availability. Some hiring managers will give you access to their calendars so you can set up the interview for them. This gives you more flexibility when you're scheduling an interview. Address any questions that arise about the candidate. It's important when you get feedback on a resume to ask the hiring manager or the account manager if they have any questions about your candidate's work experience or skills. You want to address these before the interview so the candidate and the hiring manager or account manager are prepared to answer questions. Schedule interviews, whether it be in person or phone or virtual. When speaking with the hiring manager, be sure to find out what kind of interview they will be conducting. Will it be a phone interview, a video, or in-person interview? This will help you to prepare your candidate. Find out if this will be what we call a one and done, or is this the first round interview, and if so, How many other interviews can we expect so that you can prepare your candidate? After you have scheduled the interview, make sure your candidate has knowledge of the company and what they specialize in. Work with them so they understand what the company does, what they want to accomplish. Have your candidate research them so they will be familiar with the company they are interviewing with. Recruiting is a long and rewarding process. It can also be challenging. A recruiter's job is a lot more than just searching job boards and social media for candidates. It's a career that has many steps and requires a lot of skills and patience. Thank you. For more information about Axiom Search Company LLC, please visit our website at www.axiomsearchco.com.